Yo, what is going on, guys? Hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. So the Philadelphia Eagles, some updates. I kind of want to go over a few topics with you guys I think is really important. So let's get straight into it.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. So, the Eagles are sitting at 3-0. We're feeling good as Eagles fans right now. I mean, every time I turn the TV on NFL Network or I just turn on the TV in general on a sports channel, always talking about the Eagles, always praising the Eagles, and I'm just not used to it. I'm really not, and I really want us to earn what we earn from these wins that we've gotten. We've definitely earned it, and this team has really oozed confidence and grit, and just they take they really put a lot on themselves as players to be successful, and the way Jalen Hurts is leading this team, gravitating the players towards him to want to play for him. It's been a fantastic ride so far. I mean, we're only going to the fourth week of the season. And there's so much football left, and I can't wait to see what this team looks like down the road and what's going to happen. Like I said, I take these games week by week. I don't jump ahead of the gun for anything. Not at any given Sunday, you're not taking any team lightly, and this team is not doing that. The more they win, they're not feeling themselves up, cocky, conceited. It's different. They're on a mission every single game, and I got to tell you, this is one of the most hardworking teams I have ever seen. And I think with Jalen Hurts leading the pack, he leads by example, and everybody follows him, and that's all that matters. And I think with that in our system right now, and how Nick Sirianni has really just created this culture after becoming our head coach. And Sirianni has been fantastic. So it's been a fun ride so far, but definitely a lot more to go as of right now. So first, I want to talk about Jordan Davis, okay? So there was some news about Jordan Davis. Interesting enough, I think, with 4 quarterback pressures on 14 pass rush attempts. And I think Jordan Davis is going to get better down the road. I think he will. And look, when it comes to his conditioning, I know it's an issue, but he's not getting enough snaps, and that's fine. It is what it is. Fletcher Cox is in front of him right now, so I'm not expecting Jordan Davis to get a ton of reps unless he needs to move up to unless Fletch gets hurt or something like that. Knock on wood. But Jordan Davis, this is a mentorship year for him, learning from Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham and some of the other guys, which is great because really with Jordan Davis, when we drafted him, I wasn't looking for the numbers. I'm looking for just him getting pressures. I'm looking for him to take on double teams and opening those lanes up for linebackers on these blitz packages, and him getting a lot of attention when he's on the defensive line where they have to double him. And I think once next year in 23 comes around and Hargrave gets that extension, which I think he will, and Davis moves up and Fletch will be a free agent and probably be on another team by that time. We'll see what happens. Fletcher Cox is an interesting one because I didn't think he was going to play good this year. I honestly didn't. After the past few years, he had some injuries, 2 really big down years for Fletch, even though he had they have 6 sacks, whatever it was last year. There was too much. It just didn't show me, that he really had it. And I don't think Fletcher Cox is really at the same level that he was back when he got that $100 million contract, but I feel like he's still very productive in a rotation, which I'm totally fine with. If you guys remember, Howie Roseman found the loophole. They put a second-round pick on Fletcher Cox and tried to trade him this past offseason, and then nobody bid on it, so they found a loophole. They released Fletcher Cox. They brought him back. They redid his deal. They gave him $13-14 fully guaranteed. And they moved the dead cap from 40 to 12 because the Eagles are, I think, a top 5 team when it comes to most dead cap space. That's part of the Carson Wentz deal. The Alshon Jeffrey, Malik Jackson releases, and those 2 contracts were pretty big. At the time, the Alshon Jeffrey contract was good. His 4-year fully guaranteed contract was awesome. But after that, he just fell apart, and it just became a really bad contract. So really, Howie Roseman has gotten a lot better with not locking up players for wrong reasons, okay? Because of that Super Bowl, they were locking up players players a year, 2, 3 years after that, for past accomplishments. This is a year-to-year league. You got to give contracts on what they do from year to year, not from, like I said, past accomplishments from that Super Bowl. So I think things are definitely changing for the better for this team. But Fletch might walk. Who knows? Fletch might come back for another year for less money. I don't know. Who knows at this point? But Jordan Davis is definitely going to be playing next to Javon Hargrave next year, most likely. Like I said, the Eagles are not losing 4 defensive linemen. So if anyone's going, it might be Barnett. Probably. He's going to be rehabbing that ACL coming back, which I have no time for it. And I'm kind of interested to see what Patrick Johnson does. Patrick Johnson is actually taking over for Derek Barnett. And and he's a 7th-round pick from Tulane. I mean, he's playing pretty good. I mean, look, the numbers aren't there, but he's getting a little bit of pressure here and there. He's doing a pretty good job. He got close to Carson Wentz a couple times. I thought he played pretty good, guys. Patrick Johnson's definitely somebody I want to kind of look at going forward, which let's see what he does down the road. But Jordan Davis, I'm not worried about it. I think by next year, another full offseason, more experience. And we're talking about this is after 3 games. I mean, he's only played in 3 NFL games. We're going to the 4th game of the season. So, you got to think of it that way. It's not like we played, 10 games already. We're going to the 4th week. That's how, and this season will go fast before a blink of an eye. We're going to see who's the top of the NFC East and who's going to be in the playoffs. And I hope this team is there. So that's what I want to say about Jordan Davis, which is great. Next, I want to talk about the cornerback spot. Guys, we couldn't be any more lucky. I mean, you can't take this for granted, guys. Remember from the years with Chip Kelly and looking at cornerbacks, even with Andy Reid too, like looking at cornerbacks, overpaying for cornerbacks, bringing cornerbacks in here that are worth so much, and it has done little production. And I got to say, what the Eagles have done this past year, and this secondary is probably one of the top secondaries in the league. There's no doubt about it. At your cornerback spot, you have, and this is the lowest passer rating around the league, okay? Big Play Slay is ranked 3rd in the league with 29.3. Right behind him is James Bradberry with 30.5. Okay, Avonte Max is definitely a top 3 nickel corner. There's no doubt about it. Avonte Max has been tight on coverage. He's been aggressive. I've loved everything that he's given this team so far. Bradberry was a big what can he do, because I was kind of I was riding the train for Bradberry, but I kind of want to just be cautious because he gave up over 800 yards receiving last year with the Giants as a number 1 cornerback, and he hasn't been a Pro Bowler in a couple years. And I thought he was kind of falling off a little bit. But, the Eagles picked him up and had a really good training camp, good joint practices. But, man, I don't think his overall total yards he's given up receiving, okay, as a corner, I don't think he's given up like 50 yards yet. I mean, that's how crazy Bradberry is playing right now. What are you going to do at the end of this year? Slay's here for another year. Maddox is still on contract. Bradberry's a free agent. Are you going to draft a corner next year? I mean, I don't know what they're going to do. If Bradberry wants to stay and this team goes far, I mean, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But it's going to be really, I mean, look, for Bradberry, I think he found a new home, and I think he loves it here, and he's playing lights out. He's not the hoorah type player, but he leads by, he leads by example, and that's what matters. I've been very happy with James Bradberry. He has been lights out fantastic. And I couldn't be any happier about it. So, guys, like, when we talk about the secondary, if we can get more of a consistent pass rush, just imagine how much better. Look, the pass rush and the coverage is hand in hand. Okay, when you have good coverage, gives you more time for the pass rush for the guys to get after the quarterback. You have a good front, obviously, you're going to cause a lot of turnovers. And if it works hand in hand, guys, it's going to work out well. And that's up to Jonathan Gann to get this done this year. Okay, definitely up to it. And I got to say this. The only way the Eagles fail offensive or offense or defensively this year is the coaching staff. It really is. The coaching staff puts these players in the right positions to win football games, okay? They play these players to their strengths. And I felt like coming off that Washington game, Washington looked terrible. But I'm glad that the Eagles could have, they left 21 points off the board, and this defense could have, if Gannon decided to keep his foot on the gas, they would have done a lot more damage. You know what I mean? So the coaches only do so much. They direct these guys of how much production they're going to go, and that's that's going to be down the road where this defense is and how Jonathan Gannon is coaching these guys up and what's the game plan. Is he going to be more aggressive in the second half of games when they're up a certain amount of points? That's what I'm saying, and that's what I'm kind of looking at right now. So when it comes to the cornerback situation, even Zech McPherson, he's a big special teamer right now, and not saying he's a future number 2 or a future number 1, but he's a 4th-round pick out of Texas Tech. So how much can I really put on him? Even when he was a rookie last year, I couldn't put that much on him as a 4th-round pick. Even going into this year, he's definitely gotten better, which is a great thing. So definitely want to see his progression as the season goes on. And lastly, I want to talk about the Saints' first-round pick. Now, obviously, when we traded that first-round pick, when we trade picks for Carson Wentz, the second-round conditional, like I turned into a first-rounder, Carson Wentz had to play a certain amount of snaps with Indianapolis last year. So I kept track of that all year. Now with this, I'm going to be doing the same thing this year. Now, if the season ended, now the Saints are 1-2 right now. If the season ended today, we would have the 7th overall pick of the draft. Since if Jalen Hurts plays the way he's playing right now, they give him that contract, okay? You got 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick next year, okay? It's crazy. And then 24, you have a first-rounder in 2 seconds. I mean, it's nuts. It's crazy this how this trade went down. Not only once, but getting Chauncey Gardner-Johnson for, 6, 7th-round picks, whatever those picks were. It was just insane how many trades that they've done with the Saints so far, and I think they fleeced them on every single one. So very happy about that. So as a few more games, go on, and I look at the schedule for the Saints, and look, any given Sunday, anything could happen. So that's why it's confusing to me, because I can't guarantee wins or losses. I mean, they lost against the Panthers. I think the Saints have a better roster. I think they just play better than the Panthers, but the Panthers beat them. I didn't think it was going to happen. So they almost got beat by Atlanta. That was close. That was a close one. They won it by the last scoring field goal. So they almost were actually 0-3, which is kind of crazy. Okay, they won against Atlanta 27-26. Okay, they lost against Tampa 20-10. They lost against the Panthers 22-14. I look at these other games. They play in London this Sunday at 9:30, 10 a.m. against Minnesota, 9:30 a.m. So they could lose against Minnesota. Seattle, could be a back-and-forth game. Cincinnati doesn't look great, but, if the Saints let their guard down, Cincinnati could win that game. They can get beat by Arizona. They could get beat by Las Vegas. They can be beat by Baltimore. They can get beat by Pittsburgh. They can be beat by the LA Rams. They can get beat by San Francisco. And then they have to face Tampa Bay again, and then Atlanta, and then Cleveland, Philadelphia, Carolina. I mean, it's not an easy schedule. I feel like they can lose a lot of games. I think maybe they win 7-8 games this year, and maybe 8 is pushing it. Maybe 7's pushing it a little bit, because there could be a chance they get a top 10 pick. It could actually happen, but I'm not going to put too much into it, because, like I said, we're going to the 4th week already. So as the time goes on, we'll figure out what happens. I think this can be either a top 10 pick, or it'll be like a pick from 15 to 25. I mean, it can go either or. So as the games go on, I will update you guys on the pick. It's going to be interesting. And obviously, this goes into Jalen Hurts playing well, because Jalen Hurts Jalen Hurts designates these picks and how we're using them. Really, if Jalen Hurts doesn't play good, they get rid of him and they have to trade up for a quarterback. I mean, that's the way it goes. But I'm far from thinking that right now. We're only going into week 4 of the season. So it's kind of nuts, but that's kind of all I want to talk about, guys, today. Just kind of want to talk about the Saints draft capital and obviously what these picks could mean and what they could do with them. Jordan Davis, the cornerbacks for this team, and the Eagles are 3-0 right now. Couldn't agree more on how great they have been playing, and it's been fantastic. So appreciate everybody watching the video. I hope you guys definitely subscribe, like the stream, like the video if you guys haven't, and I'll see you guys on the next one. SHAKESQUAD up, follow slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.